What's up guys, and welcome back to the next episode of this little Ford Connect micro campervan conversion. So in the previous episodes I've got the full length worktop unit with the hob and the fridge and the full tamper storage unit all in place. I've then also created the full rock and roll bed frame as well. So now we're getting down to the final finishing touches in the campervan. I've got to do all the electrics and the final finishing touches. So that's what's going to be happening in today's episode. A lot of the electrics are going to be housed within the tamper unit around the top area, and I've got a touch panel dimmer for the 4 LED downlights that are in the overhead ply panel. I've also got a Victron Smart Solar Bluetooth MPPT solar controller, and this will give out full readings on your phone. It connects via Bluetooth and it gives full readings of how much power is being generated by the solar panels, as well as how much battery usage is being taken out of the battery, and it also gives a full history of the previous week and more of how much power is being generated. If you're after any of the bits that I'm going to be fitting, there'll be links in the description below. Going out to eBay where I've bought all of these bits: the touch dimmer, the smart controller, the 12-volt fuse panel, things like that. So location wise, as you can see, I've just done a quick template there of where the touch dimmer is going to be getting mounted in. That's going to get cut in a second. And then inside the tamper unit, that's where I'm going to be mounting the solar controller, the fuse board and the few switches for things like USB charge points, things like that. I've got a 150 amp hour battery underneath the unit down there that's going to be getting charged up via the 250 watt solar panel on the top. So there shouldn't really be a shortage of power in the conversion. So as I say, today's episode is pretty much all just about getting everything connected up, everything tested, working, making sure it's all okay as we're getting down to the final finishing touches of this conversion. So let's crack on, get some holes drilled for the touch dimmer, get these 2 units mounted on the inside of the cupboard as well. We'll get all the wiring done, get it tested, and by the end of this episode we should have fully working electrics throughout this little Ford Connect micro camper. So let's get cracked on and get some of the electrics fitted in and wired in. Right, so we've been cracking on with the electrics, and I've got the touch panel in for the LED downlights. As you can see, they're all working. They're dimmed down as needed and brightened back up just by touching the dimmer panel. So the lights are all in. I've also got a little switch there for the brand new Dometic CRX50 switch fridge. So then that can be turned on and off as needed. That's on there, and if we open it up, you can see all the lights are on, things like that. I say this is brand new fridge, this one as well. That means that the fridge can be turned on and off, so when it's not being used as a camper, just turn the fridge off and it's not drawing any power away from the leisure battery. So now those main parts are in, I'm going to be fitting some USB and 12 volt power. Now the easiest way to get these fitted in nice and neatly is to actually unscrew the caps off the rear of them. The 2 units fall out, and then with this backing plate, line the backing plate up where you want, draw some circles around on the inside, and that means that you're going to get some nice neat fits, and if there were any offcuts, that this covering plate should cover over them as well. So I'm going to mount the USB and 12 volt power just beneath the light switch just there. So I'm just going to go and get a pencil, do some markings around the inside of where the sockets will be fitting in. We'll get the hole saw out, get these drilled in, then we'll get the 12 volt and USB sockets fitted in, wired in, tested, and then we'll be getting towards the end of the electrics, other than just a quick inverter that's going to be getting fitted as well. So first things first, we'll get the USB fitted, then we'll have a look at the inverter and see if there's anything else that needs doing. So let's get cracked on and get these mounted in the unit. Right, so the electrics are coming along quite nicely. I've relocated the fuse box just a little bit higher to make way for a battery on-off switch, and that itself is for the Ring 500 watt inverter that I've got here. I'm going to run a cable going from the inverter up to the top panel, where I'm going to be fitting in a little just normal plug socket on the exterior, pretty much next to where the light switch is on there as well, just so it'll give a little bit of option to have some sort of 240 volt hookup. It's not the most powerful inverter in the world, but it's still going to be more than capable of charging laptops, tablets, things like that, even running TVs, small appliances, anything between 400 or 500 watts. This inverter should do quite nicely. And as I say, just for more safety and security more than anything else, I've wired it into a main on-off switch there, so all the 240 can be turned on and off with a main switch. So now that's all in place, I'm just going to run the 240 cable along the top, back up the top there, and that's where the plug's going to be, up on the top section. Then once that's in, that's pretty much all the electrics done. Then I'm just going to go around tidying all the cables up, putting some cable ties in place, making sure that they're all nice and neat and tidied away. But it's coming along quite nicely, so let's get this 240 volt inverter power socket all connected up, and then let's see if there's anything else that needs doing. Right, so that's all the electrics in now and all tidied up as well. So to test everything, we have the USB that's currently charging my phone over there, so that's charging up nicely, showing the USB is working fine. Obviously the lights are working because we can turn those on and off as well. If we turn the fridge on, the light inside the fridge all starts lighting up and the fridge starts going into its cool down cycle. And then finally, if we flick the switch for the inverter, which is a bit awkward when it's in the bed position, sorry, the sofa position. We can hear there the inverter kicks in, and then just as a quick test, I've got a little desk lamp there. It's wired up onto the 240 volt, and that shows that the inverter's working as well, kicking out 240 volt through the socket. So I'll just turn that back off again. As you can see, the lamp's gone straight off as well. So that's pretty much all the electrics all sorted in this vehicle now. As here, we've got 12 volt fridge, we've got 12 volt LED lighting, we've got the USB and the 12 volt power socket as well as 240 via the 500 watt ring inverter that's in there as well. Obviously I'd already wired up the solar panel controller early on as well, but this is everything nicely contained within the one unit, which means that if it needed any work, it's all located in one area, so it's nice and easy to get into. So that's pretty much all the electrics done in this camper van conversion, and now we're getting down to the real final finishing touches of the van. The only thing I've got left to do now is a little bit of upholstery, and I've already started on some of the upholstery. As you can see there, I've got a lot of the cushions already made up. I've got one more to do, and that'll be the upholstery done. And then the only thing I'm thinking about doing in this conversion now is maybe fitting a diesel heater underneath the rock and roll bed as well. There's no space for it on the unit side, and underneath the van there's nowhere for all of the vents to come out. So when I was underneath, the only suitable position for a diesel heater would be underneath the rock and roll bed. So if I decide to fit one of those, that'll be coming in the next episode. But as you can see, we're really starting to get down to the very last couple of small little odd jobs to get this conversion fully finished off. But it's certainly coming along nicely. I'm certainly happy with how it's all turning out as well, especially for the size of the van. As I say, this is going to be a really nice, lovely little micro camper van with pretty much all of the usual amenities and things like that that you would expect in a bigger van. So I hope you found this video useful. If you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, I'll put a link in the top of the video there that will go to the playlist showing the entire conversion, job by job, as we've gone through converting this little Ford Connect into this lovely little micro camper van as we see today. So check the playlist if you haven't seen them already. Pop back for next week's episode, and then, as I say, we're getting towards the very final finishing touches of this conversion. So thanks for watching, give the video a thumbs up, and hopefully I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, cheers.